next session is chaired by Cheryl Perdomo. Cheryl Perdomo has a 10 years experience helping high-performance organization. That means globally active enterprises to succeed by implementing integrated management systems. She's passionate about sustainability management, innovation, circular economy, sustainable business models, and force on climate-related financial disclosures, among others. But also, I have to say that Cheryl Perdomo was a big help organizing this conference with all the people from the Caribbean and from Venezuela and other parts, and she's a linguistic genius. Thank you very much, Cheryl, for joining. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reno, for having us.
Welcome again to this conference of the Gender Declaration. My name is Cheryl Perdomo. I am a member of the Administrative Council or the Board of Trustees, and I am the leader of the Committee for Policies Creation, Women of Concerned Professionals, and Strategic Conscious Networking, WOCPSCN. This is an organization that is a non-profit organization that focuses on gender equality and equity. Their mission is to push through an active approach, community development and socioeconomic sustainability. I will be here today, and next we will have Venezuela's participation. The objective of this next session is to provide you with an example on how the principles of sustainability in any of its branches, whether it's environment, social impact, or economic impact, may provide a compendium of tools and will allow us to achieve resilience. As we all know, resilience is the process of better adapting to adversity or significant sources of tension or stress. And like any other psychology term, any different persons will process diversity differently. That is why there is no perfect recipe that applies as a solution for all cases. Therefore, this sort of spaces is fundamental to share the different experiences and to generate different support networks and to increase our inventory in our toolbox when dealing with sustainable initiatives. With no further ado, I will present to you the next speaker, Raúl González Acuña, who is a mechanical engineer with a master's degree in mechanical engineering, who specializes in renewable energies and energy efficiency. He is the leader of the Potabilis Foundation. Hello, my name is Raúl González. I am the president of the Potabilis Foundation, and today we will be talking about our project, the one we developed in Venezuela, and we called this presentation Drinking Water and the Creation of Means for Life. So what we are going to deal with today will be a topic that has to do with the water issue and climate resiliency. So sustainable drinking water through the sun. And what have we done at the Potabilis Foundation to work on these means, these life means, with an holistic approach, with a gender and sustainable approach. And one of our resilience projects that we are working on in 2023, 2024. And we're also going to talk to you about the lessons learned. So in order to begin, we have to understand that diseases of water origin will kill over 800,000 people per year, according to WHO. So it's as though a whole city like San Francisco were to die in a period of a year time. That is, it's just as though we had the Avengers and Thanos would click his fingers, and during that year, all of the people from San Francisco were to be killed and the city would be a ghost city. That is what happens with diseases that are diseases of water origin. And it's not because there is no way of making water, drinking water, but rather in the cities have to be left for in a period that is under 2 years if they're not financed, because since water is the only human right that is necessary to live, just like electricity and internet, but those are services that are being paid for. Well, water is considered as a zero-sum game where you get paid the minimum, the bare minimum. So since you're getting paid the minimum, the bare minimum, usually these projects are abandoned because they don't have the financial resources or technological resources to support that service. So the point we need to understand here is that we have to get ready, because this is a very serious problem, one of the most serious problems we have as humankind. But then we add to it the fact that there is climate change, and climate change in its turn, according to the General Secretary of the UN, we are no longer in global heating, but rather global boiling. So we need to understand that climate resiliency, and we need to work on all of our systems that will consider these elements, and we mustn't design or install things that will be damaged or that will be damaged by climate change. And that entails considering the most vulnerable first, and then we have climate justice as a concept that needs to be taken into account. We first need to cover those people who are most vulnerable, and here we have to understand that there are ethnical groups, indigenous communities, there are racial elements and economic policies that will allow us to do these things. This picture that you can see here is part of what happens in our plant where we fill the bottles up. That looks that way because there was a flooding last year, and that can be due to climate change because we had never had those rains like those that made the rivers grow and ruined the infrastructures, and no one had water for 72 hours. But in our plant, what we did was donate water, and we were the first point of providing humanitarian aid in the region. And what would have happened if we had not been in the community at that time when that tragedy took place? If that tragedy had taken place 2 years prior when we were not yet there, many people would have died because they didn't have access to water. So this is important to understand. We need to understand the importance, the magnitude of these initiatives. And we work with drinking water in with a sustainable approach. We use thermal solar energy, and we have the possibility of creating water with different qualities by generating a circular economy process that will generate development in areas with great touristic potential and productive potential. So that you get an idea of this pilot experience, we have introduced it in Canuabo in Venezuela. You will see what Canuabo is. It's a wonderful community where the construction that the community built, we got superficial sources of water, and we turned it into 2,000 liters per day of drinking water, and then distilled water, which has an amazing economic potential, 200 liters per day. So we are the first plant that uses sun for this, and we are the biggest solar plant in Venezuela with 28 square meters with 14 panels. We use 5 pumps, and we do both pre and post treatment so that you get a general idea. This is Canuabo. I'm going to show you a few videos now so that you understand what this project really is about. This is the celebration of the Corpus Christi with the Brotherhood of the Dancing Devils of Canuabo. What you just saw is the Brotherhood of the Dancing Devils of Canuabo. It's a tradition that is over 300 years old. It takes place on the Corpus Christi as well as during St. Joseph's Day, the patron saint of that community. And these dancing devils, this brotherhood was considered immaterial World Heritage. And let me just show you Canoabo so that you know what the city looks like. And the rains will come back, and the small crickets will be there again under the breath of a mysterious longing for the world. And so forever, around these writings on the stone that we call an ancient race, and perhaps might speak of God. This is a village that used to live off of citrus, but now they have migrated to what was done in ancient times, which was planting cocoa and coffee. And they're recreating this culture that is focusing on chocolate so that they can generate local value. And that's where we're really working with them. Let me show you with a short video how we celebrated our 1-year anniversary when we had been there for 1 year. The factory had been there for 1 year. Well, it's easier said than done, but we are currently celebrating the first anniversary of the inauguration of the Potabilis plant, the first solar water treatment plant in Venezuela. And that fills us with pride and has allowed for Canoabo to be better known. The social impact that the plant has had in Canoabo is unprecedented, because actually people in Canoabo and those who come see us have gotten used to drinking water. And when you say drinking water, you mean health. So obviously this, very often people might think that it is obvious for people to drinking water, but that is not always the case. And I wanted to show you the model that we have been using. As I told you, this is a partnership with Easy Clean Water, which is the company that developed the technology, and we are leveraging on the social part. So the model that they have is a three-party model where they sell the water to the entrepreneurs in the area, and that income, we will see a table showing that, allows us to finance social programs, and we can give free water to the most vulnerable parts of the community, because we understand that there are different layers of vulnerability, and with solidarity prices to everyone else. So 50% cheaper than the prices in cities. And we are financing projects to try and fight against gender gap with entrepreneurship programs with a gender approach. And we use solar energy, and that allows us to reduce CO2 emissions. And we are avoiding deforestation, because the wood that would be burned to boil water is no longer necessary, because the water is now drinking water thanks to our plant, our water treatment plant. So here you see that our main product is distilled water. It can be sold for 50 cents of a dollar up to $3 per liter. And our cost goes from 0.004 to 0.01 cents per liter. And they are being sold at a solidarity price that is around 1 cent per liter. So if you see, in the worst case scenario, this water would cover the operation costs. So what happens here? Well, obviously, we're talking about a zero-sum game here, but we can also generate some profitability of around $29,000 per year, which is not an amazing amount, but it can generate enough money for impact to be made in the community by allowing for wealth generation means in the community. So This has two pillars. On the one hand, we have CleanWater that leads the technological side. They do development of engineering, installing and optimization, as well as the commercialization of distilled water in urban centers. And then there's the social side that we are in charge of with Potabilis. We have the training of the community so that they can be empowered. We have entrepreneurship days providing training. We are focusing on their salary earning activities. Then we also have entrepreneurs contests to the operation of the plant. And also we have water donation plans and how they articulate with the society. And that's how we create this virtuous circle that we were talking about. We have health. We also have innovation and development with private initiatives that generate this wealth. And then we also have Cacaonabo that won the contest, and then empowerment with the gender approach that allows us to generate that interest for the value generation, local value generation, and not just the emigration of people or just focusing on raw materials. So I can actually talk to you about Promote Your Life with Entrepreneurship, which is our advanced program that we have developed for our rural communities, most vulnerable communities. We provided them with 108 training hours. It's motivation, communication, we have design thinking. So we do all lots of things such as sustainable tourism and food production. This is the continuation of our first training days, where we realized that 70% of women or over were the participants in our groups, and they kept on working in their entrepreneurial programs. And what we wanted to do was zoom into the model. We wanted to change the model and have gender equity as a main element. So we considered the conditions, we analyzed the context, and we gave more help to women. So that's 108 hours was over 3 months. We allowed them to come. We gave them support with regards to childcare and so on. So we made all the circumstances possible for them to be able to come, even when there were cases of gender violence in their community or in their homes. And here we have a video so that you can look at the Impulsa program. I really thank the Potabilis Foundation for this entrepreneurship program that has really helped us women empower ourselves. I would like to thank the Potabilis Foundation for having chosen me first to take part in this workshop, Impulsa tu vida emprendiendo. To me, it was a great surprise because I did not expect to receive so much knowledge and so much wisdom from such wonderful people. Well, actually, I'm here in Canoabo in this program Impulsa tu vida emprendiendo, where we have spent all these weeks learning and making these cards showing all of the feelings, emotions that we might have had and that have been frozen for some time, and now we're sharing them with everyone else. Promote your life with entrepreneurship. So this is just for you to see the impact of this implementation during all of these years that we have been in the community, because we've only been here for 2 years. We have given water to 1,400 people with very good price. Then we have donated water to around 1,000 children who are in educational institutions and to around 200 adults. And we have trained 139 people with different initiatives, and we have impacted the community because there have been 29 new entrepreneurship programs. People have now improved their initiatives. We can see the changes before and after the training. And we have also participated in different programs, international as well as local, such as the Bayer Social Innovation Award. We have, for instance, participated in the WIO Accelerator. We also have a program in the US that we have participated in. Then we have SIT Sports and so on. And this is just for you to see the evolution of the water delivery. As you can see, this is a graph of what our evolution has been during the first months of operations. Here you see that there is an important gap between the growth of donations and the the growth of our sales. And what we're working on, and you will see that at the end when we talk about resilience programs, is how to turn this gap that we have here into a better situation. And many of the lessons learned have been focusing on that. So all of the programs can be measured. And as you can see, we are currently close to having delivered 200,000 liters. It is a milestone for us. And that was 10 months. And now we do that. So 100,000 liters are being provided every 9 months now. So the lessons learned that we can share are the following. Limitations to water access in the communities, they mainly focus on the lack of social cohesion more than the technical side. We always think, we engineers, that it's a technology problem, and we dedicate too many resources to developing resources. But really, what we need is to understand that the social problems are the ones that are blocking us. And we actually had a situation where we saw that the people from the community, some of them wanted to be the kings of the water and the solution. And that also happens to us when we work with non-profit organizations. I mean, they were previously in the community, and those non-profit organizations were the ones that, instead of helping democratize the situation, people were looking for their own profit. And that also happens. So many times we have to understand that the social side is the one that is the main priority in these processes. The second lesson learned was that we have to get close to communities, but that has to go hand in hand with real local leaders. So what happens in these communities? They have seen lots of promises that were unfulfilled, people who come offering castles, and that doesn't happen in the end. And we realize that the community will always come to our meetings, but it will take them over 8 months to get the trust that you need. Those people will come, but they will always be somehow reluctant to believe everything that you're telling them. They will not really believe that what you say is true, because they have been lied to previously. And the formula that does work to guarantee the good installation is having a social partner, a local social partner that really monitors this social action and that is paid for their action. Our plant is set in a house in the community, and the owner of the house is our local partner that is in charge of the operation. And that person is focusing on making sure that everything happens correctly. But you cannot do that for free forever. You cannot just say thank you and expect them to keep on working. We understand that we have to pay that person. They have to be paid for the operation of the plant. And that is how we see that it is necessary for that person to be dedicated. They need to be able to cover their needs. And thanks to this operation, they can do it. So now that person can be dedicated to serving their community, because it's not just something that they do as a volunteering activity, but also it's part of their work. And when there are open tenders, women are usually more interested, and they have a more active role in the creation of sustainable life sources. And that is what happened in this project. And in order to conclude, I would like to simply tell you what are the resiliency projects that we have considered for 2023-2024. So if you have something that you consider could add to these projects, whether it is literature or successful experiences, please do not hesitate to contact us. So we're using drinking water as a development mechanism. So we have first to raise awareness amongst school children. It might be paradoxical to think that drinking water is about using water that is not treated. But in schools, we saw that we donated water, but the kids would not always drink it. They would also drink water from the faucet. And that tap water, that faucet water, is not adapted. It comes directly from the river. So we realized that was the situation, and we did this pilot project, and we raised awareness, and they did respond correctly. And now we're doing mass training, and now everyone responds to it. But we also have to raise awareness amongst adults so that they understand the importance of drinking water. So then kids understand the situation, but adults have to understand it as well. They have to understand how important it is to have drinking water in their lives. And the other thing that I believe is even more important is that we need to create that network of micro-entrepreneurs for the distribution of drinking water in the most faraway points of rural communities. Because in rural communities, you usually have micro communities that might be far from each other. They might be far from the water treatment plant, and it is very difficult to get to that site. So sometimes they spend more money in getting there than the water itself. So we are creating this micro network so that they can become our water distributors, so that they can generate income for their communities, but they can also transport that water, and those entrepreneurs are going to also get the water in those school centers and so on. So that's what I wanted to finish my presentation with, and I wanted to remind you that we need to have clean water and nobody can be left behind. Thank you so much. We are here for you. If there is anything that we can do for you, we will be happy to help. Thank you so much, Raúl, for sharing this information. Thank you for sharing the foundation's information. It is very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your lesson learned. And I also wanted to say that the solution is not always a technical solution. Sometimes, as you said, it is a social side that is most important. We need to involve people. We need to involve them to communities. So I wanted to repeat that these sort of spaces are basic, they're fundamental to generate experiences, to create the support networks that we need so that we can increase our capacity to tackle sustainable initiatives. And we also we at WCPSCN and the Potabilis Foundation, we thank you for the opportunity you have given us to participate in this Congress. And Dr. Bina, back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cheryl, and thank you very much, Raúl, for raising up this highly important issue already now for a big part of the world population, and certainly gaining in importance over the coming years and decades. It made me think of an example that in South Africa has been produced by Nelson Mandela when he was offered money from the United States to build up a whole network of hospitals. He said, "Wait, Mr. Hospital, first we need clean water for everybody in the whole country, and then after that we can talk about hospitals. We have to avoid hospitals with clean water." And very important issue. Thank you very much, both of you, and hope to work with you over the couple of the coming years in the framework of the Vienna Declaration. Thank you very much. Thank you.